Hans Tausen was a religious reformer known as the Danish Luther for his major role in bringing the Reformation to Denmark. While studying, he was called back to Antvarskov, supposedly because his superiors recalled him to Denmark due to his growing sympathy with the Reformation. However, he was actually called back to Denmark to be imprisoned in the order's priory in St. John due to him professing his attachment to the doctrines of Martin Luther. Imprisonment didn't even hinder this guy from spreading the gospel. From his prison cell's window, he preached to the people assembled outside until his prior got overwhelmed and annoyed and lent him the pulpit of the church. Tausen's preaching was so revolutionary that he no longer felt safe within the orders of St. John, so he discarded his religious habit, which is his Roman Catholic garb, and placed himself under the protection of the burgesses of Viborg. Tausen was transferred to Copenhagen and rapidly furthered the Reformation as well as his own reputation as a preacher. After the death of Frederick I, he was accused of blasphemy by Bishop Joachim Rano and expelled. The citizens then rose in arms against the bishop, who might have been murdered if it wasn't for Tausen's intervention.
Wanna be a distraction, baby. Wanna be.
When Tausen returned to his church in Antvarskov with his new conviction of Lutheranism, he was met with a great resistance. Due to his Lutheran views, he was banished to a church in Viborg. He was not respected by the administration and the church prior, but Tausen was popular in the eyes of the congregation and would have to be turned in for preaching heresy.
Baby shark do 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 do, baby shark do 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 do, baby shark do 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 do, baby shark, mommy shark. Okay.
Instead, Bishop Jorgen Fries banished Tausen from preaching in all churches in Viborg. Tausen had the opinion that it was the king and not the pope or the bishops that were in charge of the churches. Tausen had the mentality of God alone decided who was saved, and it was not possible to buy forgiveness with God, which ended up helping him in the next fact by someone of high rankings. Almost immediately after being expelled from the convent, King Frederick I took Hans under his protection and charged him to continue for a time to preach the gospel to the citizens of Viborg. They were then to be responsible for his safety, thus identifying himself with the new doctrines in direct contravention, an action that violates the law, of the letter of his coronation oath. During the next 3 years, and under the protection of King Frederick I, several Franciscan and Dominican priory churches were placed at the disposal of the Lutherans. In 1529, the king appointed Tausen preacher of the Church of St. Nicholas in Copenhagen. There he gathered a large Lutheran congregation and participated in the formulation of the 43 evangelical articles produced at the meeting of the Council of the Rome. While Hans Tausen did some great things, he made a mistake that may have cost him greatly. He decided to compromise with a bishop from Roskilde by the name of Joachim Rano. Because he tried to temporarily see eye to eye with the Catholic official, it did not go down well with the rest of the other Danish Lutherans. This apparently tarnished his reputation as an influential leader. The death of King Frederick I caused a bit of an uproar in Denmark. This was between Catholicism and Christianity. Hans Tausen continued to spread the word. In 1536, Reformation was officially implemented in Denmark. Many Danish bishops were arrested and officials confiscated church possessions. The power of the church was weakened, and the king got stronger.